Take on a legion of space pirates and a new Metroid force as you forge into the covert underworld of planet Zebes. It's up to you and Samus to recapture the long-surviving Metroid hatchling before evil hands unleash its energy. An army of ominous creatures are poised for battle at every turn of Zebes' twisted, threatening passageways, including the menacing Ridley and the great lizard Kraid. Knock down enemies with the killer somersault and swing on an electric beam through narrow passageways. They're no match for you and Samus. But wait. It seems the Mother Brain has returned. This is Super Metroid, developed by Intelligent Systems, published by Nintendo, released in 1994, part of that Metroid franchise. And it's, of course, probably one of the greatest games to ever have existed, ever in ever times, ever. And that's the episode. Thank you very much. Have a great... No. This game, obviously, a sequel to Metroid and Metroid 2, The Return of Samus. It is the third installment in the game and follows the events of the Metroid 2 game pretty much right away. We control Samus Aran, who travels to Zebes to retrieve an infant Metroid stolen by Ridley. It was released through the Virtual Console in 2007 and the SNES Classic in 2017. Gameplay focuses on exploration, with us searching for power-ups that are used to reach previously inaccessible areas. It features new concepts such as the inventory screen, the auto-map, and the ability to fire in all directions. The development staff from the previous games, including Yoshio Sakamoto, Makoto Kano, and Gunpei Yokoi, returned to develop Super Metroid over the course of 2 years, with a half a year early to gain approval for the initial ideal. The developers wanted to make a true action game and set the stage for Samus's reappearance. Critical acclaim, praising the atmosphere, gameplay, music, and graphics. It's often cited as one of the best video games of all time. See, I wasn't making that up. Though it didn't sell well in Japan and fared better in North America, shipped 1.4 million copies worldwide by late 2003. Super Metroid, alongside Castlevania Symphony of the Night, is credited for establishing the Metroidvania subgenre, which is bullshit. It existed at first and better, and has inspired other games within the genre. It's also become popular among players for speedrunning. The game is followed in 2002 with the release of Fusion and Prime, ending the series' 8 years hiatus. It was developed by Nintendo R&D No. 1 with a staff of 15, managed by Gunpei Yokoi, was written and directed by Yoshio Sakamoto, and produced by Makoto Kano. Intelligent Systems, who co-developed the original Metroid, handled the programming, and the opening was narrated by Dan Osen, a Nintendo of America employee. The narration, by the way, goes something like, "The last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace." And then the game starts. Not a great way to start a game, because it sounds like there's nothing left to do. It was released almost a decade after the original, and we wanted to wait until a true action game was needed, Sakamoto said, and set the stage for Samus's reappearance. It took half a year for Nintendo to approve the idea, and 2 years to develop. We read about that. The developer's primary goal was to make a, quote, good action game, and they sure did. It's the first Metroid game to let Samus fire in all directions while moving. It's also the first open world, one of the first, with a map feature which shows the outlines of rooms and indicates important locations and items. The team wanted to create a large map, but found it difficult to organize the amount of graphic data involved, so they broke it into smaller parts. Areas from previous games were included to create a sense of familiarity. Shortly before the release, North American Entertainment Software Rating Board, a self-regulating organization, was formed in response to the increasing violence in games such as Mortal Kombat. Asked whether he thought the controversy would cause a backlash for Super Metroid, Sakamoto explained that Samus's purpose is to maintain peace in the galaxy, saying, "It's not violence for the sake of violence." The game was demoed at the Winter 1994 Consumer Electronics Show and was named the best SNES game at the show by GamePro. Super Metroid was met with critical acclaim. Chris Slate of Game Players thoroughly enjoyed it, claiming it easily lives up to everyone's high expectations. He was satisfied how Nintendo mixed complex gameplay with state-of-the-art graphics and sound, and found the newly added auto-mapping feature something that players really needed, saying that it was the only feature in Super Metroid that the original Metroid should have had. Concluding his review, Slate said, "Action fans can't afford to miss it. You want to play through it again and again, even after you've beaten it." Nintendo Power mentioned the game may well be the best action-adventure game ever, calling it the wave of the future. They praised the graphics, sound, and controls, while their only negative comment was even 100 megabits of Metroid wouldn't be enough. EGM gave it Game of the Month award, comparing it favorably to the original and applauding the graphics, the weapons, the items, and the music. Each of the 4 reviewers gave it a 9 out of 10. GamePro criticized the controls are often awkward or difficult, and that many of the power-ups are either lifted from other games or simply upgrades of other power-ups, but praised the game's massive size along with the auto-mapping feature, saying it makes a potentially frustrating game accessible to a far wider audience. Andy Robinson of Games Radar was pleased with the game's phenomenal soundtrack, complimenting it as one of the best video game scores of all time. It's won several honors: Game of the Month, Editor's Choice, Best Action Game, Best Game of All Time. Game Rankings gave it a 97, EGM a 36 out of 40, GameSpot 8.5, IGN 9.5, Nintendo Life gave it a 10, Nintendo Power gave it a 4.425. Okay, Game Players gave it a 97, and Superplay gave it a 92. It's also got a huge legacy. It's got sequels coming out your ears, and yeah, it's Super Metroid. What can I tell you that you don't already know? It's just a fantastic game. It is a lot of fun, and if you've never played it, you really should. And the best way to do it is just plunk yourself down in front of an old TV and just go, man. Just go with it.